If you're over 55 with aching knees, a stiff hip, or a lower back that just won't quit, I'm going to tell you something most people are never told. The problem was never your knee, your hip, or your back. It's your feet. Rebuild the feet, and the pain above them starts to melt away. Because your body doesn't age from the top down, it ages from the ground up. And in the next few minutes, I'm going to show you exactly how to turn that around. In my years working with people over 55, I've watched this one truth play out over and over again. When you rebuild the feet, the whole body follows. Knees stop grinding, stiff hips loosen up. Backs that have ached for years finally go quiet. Today I'm giving you 3 simple movements, just a few minutes a day with nothing but a ball and a step, that rebuild your foundation from the ground up. And the last one works directly on your stiff hip without you even getting up off the bed. Stay with me, because together these 3 take the load off everything above them. Let me tell you about Walter, a blend of several people I've worked with so no one's privacy is on the line. Walter is 64, and he came to me for one thing, a lower back that had tormented him for years. He'd tried everything, the stretches, the pillows, the massages, the specialists, the injections. Everyone gave him a week or 2 of relief, and then the ache crawled right back. And here's the truth Walter had never been told. He was pouring all his effort into the place that hurt, and completely ignoring the place the problem was coming from. Because when I watched him move, his back wasn't the story at all. His ankles barely bent. His feet were stiff as boards, the arches collapsed, the muscles knotted and locked from decades in cushioned shoes and long days in a chair. And that's the part almost no one explains to you. Here's how your feet are actually built to work. Every single step you take, your foot hits the ground first. And a healthy foot spreads, the arch flattens for a split second to absorb the shock, then springs back to push you forward. That spring is your body's shock absorber. It's the reason your knees, your hips, and your spine don't take the full hammer of every step. But when your feet go stiff and flat, from sitting, from soft shoes that do the work for them, from years of nobody ever training them, that shock absorber stops working. And that shock has to go somewhere. So it travels straight up the chain. First it slams into the knee, that's why the knee stiffens and grinds. Then it jams into the hip, the biggest weight-bearing joint you have, and compresses it. And whatever's left lands finally in your lower back, which is exactly where you feel it, and exactly the wrong place to go looking for the cause. Now, take a quiet second and see if any of this is you. Do your feet ache or burn by the end of the day? Do they cramp at night? Are they cold, stiff, hard to get going in the morning? Have you noticed your balance isn't quite what it was? A little wobble stepping off a curb, reaching for the wall a bit more? Every one of those is your foundation telling you it's in trouble. And here's what the research is now showing clearly. In adults over 55, the strength and mobility of the small muscles in your feet is directly tied to your balance. And your balance is one of the strongest predictors we have of whether you stay independent or start reaching for a cane. That's why Walter's back screamed. The real problem was 3 floors down, in his feet. And once we rebuilt that foundation, the pain didn't just quiet, it changed how his whole body moved. That's what these 3 movements do, in order, from the ground up. And you can start the very first one today. The first movement, and the foundation of the whole routine, is the ball roll. This is where you bring a stiff, locked-up foot back to life and break apart the tight, glued-down tissue strangling the sole of your foot. That tissue, the plantar fascia and the muscles under it, is where years of stiffness live. Use any firm ball, a golf ball, a lacrosse ball, a tennis ball. If your feet are very sore, start with something softer and go shallow. Here's how. Sit or stand with light weight on the foot, put the ball underneath, and roll it slowly from the heel to the ball of the foot, then work the inside and the outside edges. The moment you find a spot that's tight and tender, and you will, stop right there and just hold your weight on it for a few seconds until you feel it soften and release. That's a not letting go. The mistake almost everyone makes, rolling fast and hard, like they're in a hurry. Fast releases nothing. The tissue only lets go under slow, steady pressure. And on a sore foot, fast just hurts and makes you quit. Slow and deliberate is what frees it. 2 to 3 minutes each foot. If a foot is really locked up, Go up to 5. Do it at the kitchen counter while the coffee brews. Do it in front of the television. It costs you nothing. And I'll tell you what to expect. The first time, it may feel tender, even a little sharp on the tight spots. By the end of the first week, that tenderness fades and the foot starts to feel like it belongs to you again. This one move alone can start pulling the ache right out of your knees. The sole is free. Now we lengthen the tight line that runs from your foot all the way up behind the knee. The second movement is the step stretch. Here's what most people don't realize. The muscles that pull your foot out of shape don't stop at the foot. They run up the back of your calf and anchor above the knee joint. So when that whole line is tight, it doesn't just flatten your arch, it drags on your knee from below with every step. Stretch the entire line, and you pull tension off the foot and the knee in a single move. Here's how. Find a step, a curb, or a small stack of sturdy books. Put the ball of your foot on the edge and let your heel sink down below the level of your toes. Keep one hand on a rail or a wall for balance. You'll feel the stretch travel from the sole of your foot, up through the calf, all the way to just behind the knee. Hold it there, completely relaxed. Never bounce. The mistake. Bouncing to force it deeper. When you bounce, the muscle senses a threat and tightens to protect itself. You're fighting the exact thing you're trying to release. A long, still, relaxed hold is what actually lets it lengthen. Hold 30 seconds to a full minute each side, 2 or 3 rounds. Do it once in the morning and once at night. Over 2 to 3 weeks, you'll feel your ankles start to bend more freely, and that new freedom is often the thing that finally quiets a cranky, grinding knee, because the knee stops absorbing what the calf and foot were dumping on it. The foot and knee are released. Now let's drive that movement straight up into the stiff hip. The third movement is ankle circles, and this one is secretly for your hip. Here's the connection nobody makes. Your foot and your hip are linked through the whole leg, and every time your foot turns, it drives a small rotation all the way up at the hip joint. So a slow, full ankle circle quietly mobilizes and feeds one of the biggest joints in your body, the one that carries your entire body weight, all day, every day. Here's how. This is best done lying down first thing in the morning before you even get out of bed. Lift one foot toward the ceiling and draw slow, big circles with it, as large a circle as you comfortably can. Go mostly outward, with a few in the other direction. And here's the detail that makes it click. Put your hand on the side of your hip, right on the bone, and you'll actually feel the whole joint turning along with the foot. That's the movement traveling up the chain. The mistake. Tiny, fast, little circles. Small and quick does almost nothing for the hip. Big and slow is the whole point. The wider the circle, the more the hip has to move, and the more fresh blood and fluid you pump back into a joint that's been stiff and starved. 10 circles each direction, each foot before you stand up. It preps that hip for a whole day of standing and sitting, and over a few weeks, that stiffness that greets you the moment your feet hit the floor in the morning simply stops showing up. Quick favor, if this is connecting the dots for you, subscribe and drop a comment telling me where you feel it most, knees, hips, or lower back. I read every single one, and it shapes what I make for you next. So what happened with Walter? He stopped hammering away at his back and spent a few honest minutes a day working from the ground up. The ball roll and the step stretch in the evening and the ankle circles in bed before he got up. And within a few weeks, the back pain that had chased him for years quieted right down, the morning stiffness lifted, and for the first time in a long time, he stood tall and felt light and steady on his feet. Because we finally rebuilt the floor the whole building had been standing on. Now, one honest word before you go, because I want you safe, not sorry. If you have sharp or sudden foot pain, real swelling, numbness or tingling, or you've been told you have nerve trouble like diabetic neuropathy, go gentle and check with your doctor before you roll on that ball. Everything else here is for the stiff, achy, everyday feet that so many people over 55 have simply given up on and learned to live with. You don't have to. So there they are, 3 movements built from the ground up. The ball roll to free the sole, the step stretch to lengthen the calf and free the knee, and ankle circles to feed the hip. A few minutes a day, that's all it takes. Tell me down in the comments where your pain hits the hardest. Knees, hips, or lower back, because I promise you, Your feet are part of that story. And subscribe, because the next video goes one floor up, your knees, and why this exact same foundation work is what finally shuts that pain down for good. Take care of those feet. They carry everything you are, every step of every single day. Give them a few minutes, and the rest of you will feel 10 years younger.